Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to yet another edition of the Lambom Show. Today is Monday, April 4th, 2022. If you have been following this program for the last 2 years, we have concentrated on relationships. We have been dealing with issues related to marriage. We have dealt in particular with issues that are troubling marriages, relationships in the United States amongst African immigrants for a long time over the last year. In fact, for a greater part of 2021, I had Coach BK from the UK who talked a lot about different issues and how we can deal with this. We focused on the problems of marriages. We focused on what are the issues and how we can address them. We never had the opportunity, like we have today, to get a couple, people who have been in marriage. At the beginning of this year, I invited Dr. Minang and the wife, Dr. Minang and Dr. Minang, both of them are doctors. So I invited both of them because they started a group in the United States of men and women. So couples, the men meet on Thursdays and the women meet, I don't know what same day or earlier in the week. And they're just talking about different issues, reading a book and sharing experiences. A great initiative that is working well. Men are able to understand. The last book that we have been dealing with is called Five Languages of Love. And we have just been talking about what love language is for men and how to be able to express this. But today we are getting this one level up. In fact, there's nothing that you are ever going to get. If you beat this, then come and I'll give you a prize. I am very privileged, very honored to have with me today Pa and Mami Kijem. They recently celebrated their 60th wedding anniversary. 60th wedding anniversary. Some of us have been in relationships for 2 years and we don't know how far. Some people 5 is the whole thing is already crumbling. Some people 10, they are just there because maybe they have kids or there's something. But we have a couple here, 60 years in marriage, and we just want to chat with them today. We want to spend the hour, like I said in my teaser. We just want to sit at the feet of these elders and soak in the wisdom, soak in their experience. It's not all the time. And I want to preface again to say that while they celebrated their 60th anniversary, I talked to Pa Kijem yesterday and I was telling him that tomorrow, my parents were supposed to be celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary. But my father died 5 years ago. And my mom told me when at 45, that year they turned 45, their 45th wedding anniversary, she was telling my dad that they should try and celebrate something, and my dad was insisting that no, let's just leave it till get to 50 and then they'll be able to do it. So that was April of 2018, and my father died in November of that year. But so they would have been 50 years in marriage tomorrow. But again, Pa and Mami Kijem are also mine too. So while I'll celebrate tomorrow, let me start off by celebrating 60. Pa, welcome. Mami, welcome. Thank you all. Thank you very much. I see you guys looking good.
Thank you.
Pa, start off. Can you say a few words, basic introduction of yourselves and how you feel?
No, you first.
Well, thank you for inviting us. It's always a pleasure to discuss life issues with neighbors and friends. And it is in that discussion that we all grow. So it's a pleasure to be with you for these few minutes today to share our experiences. We do not really have any exclusive knowledge on any subject to offer. It is a social issue and we'll discuss it together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't know how I feel you saying that I don't have exclusive knowledge. I don't know how many of us are going to have 60 years in marriage. That means you have some knowledge that we don't have. But Mami,
God is still grooming some people for that 60.
Well,
there are people behind us. 50,
yeah, again,
53, and so on.
Go ahead.
yeah, again, it's easy to say they are still grooming. I mean, I just shared with you, my parents were planning to have a 50. It has not happened. So,
Exactly.
but what God has offered us, let's take it and rejoice with that. But let's get back to the beginning, because these things, let's start back, because but I mean, how did you meet Mami and decide that this is your wife? How did that experience?
It's one of those things in life, I think only God knows how it came about. We knew ourselves somehow because we grew up in the same village, but for some years we were apart. And when I came back from school, it clicked in my mind that it was time for me to marry. I was very young, actually. At that time, I don't even started work. And for some reason or other, this figure came to my head as somebody I knew while I was still in primary school in Guinea-Con. And I asked my friend whether she is committed. My friend, later, Bobe Anthony and Chan. And he told me that we could meet her because she passes by his house regularly. And so we sort of ambushed her there. And at first meeting, I did not beat about the bush. I didn't ask her for a date or for outing. I told her I wanted to marry her if she would accept. I came straight to the point. And that is how we met.
Wow. I'm sure if you try that these days, the girl is going to tell you that you are not serious. But Mami, it seems you have something to say.
In fact, I was very young, at the age of 14, just when I finished standard 6, and he had finished in Sassi. At the age of 20, I was 14. I did not know anything. I was so naive. He just came straight and told me he wanted to marry me. I went straight to my grandmother. I said, somebody saw me and was telling me. My grandmother said, don't talk, don't say like the people will hear. I said, Mama, but what was he saying? At the age of 14. Yes. Then I left, went to Fiango for 2 years, came back and thought he was still there. He was still there thinking about the marriage. My mother was so hot since I'm a lone child. Wanted me to marry at the age of, was it 16 or 17? What saved me is that he was in Nigeria. He was in school. So my father-in-law said, oh, you cannot hold the child down when the other partner is not here. I went to Kumba. As I finished grade 2, I was posted straight to Buya, where he was working, because I was going to marry. I have never been experienced that, living on my own, from our house straight to Patron's house. That's why I was caught. Yes, we had no courtship. Even those 5 years that we spent, we were all in school. Came straight like that. Naive. Not only I was naive, he too was naive.
So this is a kind of a wonderful story, because he has come and declared his intentions straightforward. No, I mean, Patrick, I'm kind of worried about, why is it that you decided not to, I mean, why did you not hide your intention? Why were you just direct? Did you feel that your friends, were they all married, or what was it that was pushing you to get married at that time?
Oh, I knew that was a way to fit into the community. You grow up in a community and you marry. That's what I thought. And that was the way I wanted to start my life. As a married person, as a married responsible person in the community. And there was not going to be anything like a trial marriage or something like friendship and all that. I wanted to go straight for marriage and settle down. And I met somebody too who had no objection to that. And she agreed. You know? So we all grew inside the marriage. We didn't grow before we entered. We grew inside the marriage together. We learned our lessons together. We struggled together. We made our mistakes together, corrected ourselves, and went on.
Meanwhile, there were a few men who were still gathering themselves to approach me and propose. They were shocked to hear that somebody came straight from Sase and came and took me away.
Snatched away.
So I said, but I did not know. They thought I was too small, but he did not know that I was too small. But they knew I was young and naive. But some other person thought otherwise. That's how we came together. Left Fiango December 1961. Got married 62 January.
So within a few months, you guys were together. Now, I want to understand that piece in terms of how that happened. Did you go through the traditional rites, then the legal, then church? What was that process?
Yeah, went through all the stages of traditional marriage at home, consulted with our parents, listened to them, and they told us what to do step by step. Everything traditional, we did it right through to the end. There was a traditional rite which I thought I could skip because of the time constraint. But my in-laws told me that it was not normal for them to skip that. That is what they call the incha, the final step.
A ring.
Yeah, the ring. Yeah, I gave out the ring, which contained a lot of oil and so on. So we got to do that patiently. Went through all the traditional rites.
So on your part, your parents were okay, her parents too were okay, and everything worked well, the traditional rites. But you guys were already living together in Boya. Like you said, Mami, you left Fiango, came over, met him, then you guys went back to the village to finish the rites.
I left Fiango December 61, went home on holidays. Then we got married in January. I came down to Boya as a married woman, not as a spinster again.
So was there something particular about Pa Kijem that, or because he was the first person, what is it about Pa Kijem that really attracted you to get married that early?
I don't think there was something. I don't know whether it was spirits that prompted me to accept. I don't know. I only knew there's somebody I knew, and I asked Pa Anchang, the person who ambushed me, every day because he knew that I was going for benediction and passing through his door, so he waylaid me there. So it was him that I tried to consult. He told me that if I bring you somebody, I know you are my sister. If I bring somebody, be sure. I am very sure about the person. So my mother too knew his mother.
Friends.
So she too asked a few people. I said yes after 1 or 2 years. We did not just say it straight like that. I did not just say yes straight away. He was patient. He waited until I said yes. When I was already in college, and I had a few ideas from my friends and so on, so I could now conveniently say yes.
So I think that's a good, I mean, within the current situation, I don't think that happens anymore. I mean, again, the good thing indeed is that there is a middle person there, isn't it? There's somebody, there's a Pa Anchang who is playing the role of a winger, for a wingman for Pa Kijem, and making sure that everything is going on properly. But I'm sure that Pa Anchang later on played another role in case there was any problem. You had to go back to Pa Anchang to say, "Hey, that your Pa Kijem is not behaving well." But let's get to the church. Did you guys get married in church straight away?
16th of January, 1962. We got married before we went to bed.
Okay, so everything was done. Why was that important at the time for you to get married in church? Because I think for most of us, church and the traditional marriage is okay.
Our parents were married in church, and all around us were Christian families, all married in church. And it was not very common at that time to have unmarried couples in Ginicom, even as such. So we knew that was the normal way to start life. And all the doctrine and so on that we learned in school pointed to that fact that the way to start life as a Christian adult was to get marriage blessed in church. And we saw that happening in Genecom on a daily basis. People coming to church and marrying. And we knew that was the way to go. We followed it.
So, Pa, since you're the man, getting married in church, I'm not sure it was as expensive as it is these days. Did you need to buy Mami a new white gown and then get the food and all that stuff? How was that wedding? What happened on that day?
Well, marriage is a communal thing, and we follow the level of life in the community. The community celebrates at their own level. So we celebrate at the level at which the community was at that time. We are just starting life. We had no savings anywhere. We did not think of borrowing money. If we even wanted to borrow, we would borrow from who? Everybody would have wanted to borrow from you instead. Well, we do borrow money to make a lavish marriage. And we're not thinking of something like that. But within our means, the community had their food and their drinks and all their luxuries at the time to come together and celebrate for a day. And the marriage was well celebrated.
And he was able to buy me a wedding dress, a nice veil. Yeah. So I felt on top of the world at that time. But those standards are not the same ones now.
We did not pop any champagne, but there was no shortage of corn beer.
And from the church, we went on foot to the compound.
Yeah. We walked to church.
We were not carried.
And we walked back. Not only walking, but dancing too. Yeah. We were better than just flashing around in a car.
When we come and reach a compound that is related to us, people are there gathered to receive us, yes, dancing and wine and so on. We came to Parkhamtine's compound. The whole place was decorated. People were dancing. And then as we moved along, they were doing like that. That was our own celebration and joy. Not now that people take limousines. Yes.
So again, the impression I have is that it's a communal thing that happened. So the community was quite engaged. As we left church, I mean, knowing the Ginicom church, getting down to Parkhamtine's compound, I know that stretch.
Yes.
All the way. That's a long stretch, but I think again the important thing here is the community was involved.
Yeah, the community was involved. Yes. The two families and the friends of the families were all there.
Right. So again, I think in a certain sense, while our modern day marriages do not go that way, they are also involved in a certain way, isn't it? The community gets involved. But I'm wondering, you guys left your parents in Ginicom, now settled in Boya. That's an urban environment. I know Pa was a prison administrator, Mami is a teacher. How did that go? I mean, did the new environment not impact you in a certain way? Did that not influence? I mean, did that not bring its own challenges to you people?
Yeah, there was no problem. We didn't have any problems about that. Yes. So we were already employed. Employment was not as difficult as it is nowadays. I was already employed. She was already employed. And she had reached a good level of training in our work. I too, I was trained for my own work. And we had a monthly income which was enough for us to live on and even to help our families. And with that, we started life together. As I say, we grew as a married couple together. So we started everything together. She didn't come in to meet a ready-made tycoon or well-settled big man somewhere. No. Kiasa was not a well-settled woman somewhere. What we were was generated inside the marriage, two of us together.
And we came and met our tribes people in Boya too, settled there. So life was not too different.
Right, so we're never isolated.
We're not isolated.
We've never been isolated.
So then came children. So how many children did you have, and how was that experience when children started coming? Because I think for some people that becomes a challenge too. That's a new reality.
The first experience, as I call her, was in November.
Same year.
The same year, November 30th. That's when we had our first baby. My mother left in Ginicom and came down with her friends. 4 of them came and welcomed the baby for some time. The friends went back, and my mother remained for some time, just to familiarize me with child bearing, bringing up the child, and so on. Yes, I started learning, and I became used to.
So I think the difference with our modern society is that, I mean, for those in America, for example, is, you had the benefit of your mother and her friends who were able to come in. So Pa did not need to worry because, again, he had done his piece. We live in a different world now where, I mean, I normally say I don't remember seeing my dad ever doing any laundry for kids or doing any of that stuff, because I also grew up with my aunts, my mother's sisters. Okay, 3 or 4 of them. We always grew up like that. But you come to a world like America where family, if you have family members around, you're lucky. And it becomes a challenge where the child now, Pa has to also hold the baby at night and also see how to change diapers. And I mean, it's not a problem, but for some marriages, it creates a little bit of tension. And I think your situation, again, I want to make a segue into, it looks like you guys never had any issues, because that's why you lasted 60 years in marriage. It seems as if everything was just smooth. You had 1 child, and I think at the end you ended up having 7. There's supposed to be 7 of them. At least I know 4 of them. Emmanuel went to Sacred Heart, Jude went to Sacred Heart, I know Irene, and I think Miranda. But how was that journey? 7 years, Pa was in prison. The other thing I wanted to ask is, as a prison administrator, the danger with prison administrators is that they become too strict, even with their wives at home. So, Mami, how was that experience getting married to a prison administrator?
He used to tell me that I'm joking with him. He can beat me and hold me on my finger, and I will not put my heel on the ground. So I tell him, I'm not one of those your prisoners. Please be careful when you are coming out of the prison. Remove that cap and put there. Come back to the house as an ordinary big man, not a prison master. And in fact, he left it there. He never brought home that cap to the house. There was nothing like a prisoner life on him. And unless I told you, you will never know.
Right. I mean, I'll ask the same question to Pa. I mean, you got married to a teacher. Did you feel that at home she always had to remind you about some lessons, that she had to teach you a few things? Because the danger too, my mother was a teacher, kind of had to put a few things. I was telling friends the other day that I have long ears because my mother pulled them a lot as a teacher. But again, as a prison administrator, how did that feel, getting married to a teacher? Was that something? And I love what you said. Both of you were married. You grew into it. Nobody came in as a ready-made person. And so that helped a lot. But did the fact that your Mami was a teacher, did that influence, did that impact? Did you look at her at times differently because she's a teacher?
Yes, we had a great time discussing our various professions, our professions together. That was part of our dialogue, our daily dialogue. I had done a stint in the teaching field myself, taught in Saturday for a few months, and I taught in Lagos. So I had the feel of the teaching profession. I loved it. I loved to be a teacher too. The work I did in the prison was not too far from the work of a teacher. So we used to listen to each other at the end of the day, and I enjoyed the stories she brought back from school, much as she listened to the stories I brought back from the prison, my prison experience. And talking about the prison experience, it is not inevitable that a warder must be one who whips somebody around all the time. I've been a warder for so many years, and in all those years, no prisoner will tell you that I ran around him, beating him around with a whip or something. I was never aggressive. I never had any reason to whip a prisoner or to beat a prisoner to get my way. So it's never been in my blood anyway to fight or to be violent. It was never in my blood. And that was the atmosphere back home. She as a teacher and I as a warder.
He was quite honest.
Yeah.
He told everybody that if the child had a social problem, he could handle. But if it is anything concerning education, I was the one. If the child went to school, I knew what the child needed and what was supposed to be done. If the child was to be promoted, I had to say yes. In fact, I had a certain problem with my friend who was teaching a particular class, and I said somebody was not going to go forward. And she argued and said, "Oh, no, this child must go ahead," and so on. Up to the fact that he came to the house, came and told him, say, "Oh, sister doesn't want this child to go to the next class." You know the answer he gave him? If the child were a thief or fighting or telling lies, I know what to do. But when it concerns the classwork, ask her. What she says is what I hear and I say. So everybody had his or her own share in the bringing up of the children. Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's a lesson that most of us need to, because the danger with us is that we think that we know it all. So even when you have a teacher at home who knows, you think that because you're the father, you're supposed to. But I'm glad to get with that kind of experience. Pakija, let me ask you. I mean, you are a calm man, and a calm man is one who comes up with a lot of authority, isn't it? Again, I think part of the problem we have is how we interpret St. Paul's letter when he says the wife must submit to the husband. And I'm wondering, because that kind of works very well with the Com tradition, let me put it that way. So I'm wondering, when they talk about this submission, what is it about submission? Do you look at your wife as being an equal to you? And in that way, I mean, I know the answer to that. I'm just saying you should, for the sake of others, because you are a Christian and you are a Catholic, so I know what is it about the role of the woman within the context of the tradition that has helped you to be able to appreciate your wife as an equal to you, so that you are able, she submits to you, but you are able also to direct her, and you are able to listen to her too, and both of you are able to give up. I don't know whether that makes sense.
As I said, we were growing together. We came together like brother and sister, actually. And there was no question of superiority between us. We listened to each other in every situation and resolved our problems together. There was no dictatorship from either side, and we did not learn that. We didn't learn anything like that from our respective backgrounds. Our parents were always cooperative, and we took that ourselves. We cooperated.
Lambert.
Yes, Mami.
You remember that at first they used to put a bed close to the wall. So Papa will come and sleep the front of the bed. And Mommy will come and have to jump over his legs to go and sleep behind. So if Papa doesn't allow you to go to cross over his legs, you can sleep on the ground. But now the beds are put in the middle of the room. Every part is the front. So please look at that one. Do I have to cross over his legs, or he crossing over mine?
What for?
That's just what I want to say. The difference.
So I think that's a great image. You know, we emphasize on things that are really not important, isn't it? The which part is the front now? But again, I think one of the things that somebody is going to say here is Pa Kijem was lucky to find Mami Kijem, and Mami Kijem was lucky to find Pa Kijem, because the reason why marriages are failing is because people have not been lucky. Was it that you guys were just lucky, or what is it? What was the real secret to the success of your marriage? What is it that made it for you guys to be able to stay this long for 60 years?
Both of us came from humble backgrounds. Two of us. Lone children. Maybe you don't know. He is alone. I am alone. And all we had to do was to at least bring up the image of our parents who brought us up. I lost my father at the age of 3, but he was lucky to have his mother until 1960. But mine had gone a long time ago. I grew only with my mother, who fried her gari and sponsored me. His mother was cooking his this sweet yam,
Yeah.
and he goes and sells. So both of us came from these lowly backgrounds, and we had learned to be ourselves. Yes, we don't have to go and beg. As in come, they say, lonely, go here. Oh, Mama, me no get this and that. No, we're taught to be ourselves. Accept your level. So I came from that background. He came from that background, and both of us came and decided to build our lives. So,
And on a daily basis, we stuck together. Left no gap. We were together all the time. We always shared the same room, the same bed throughout, child or no child. And we brought up the children together, so that the children grew up. When the child looks up from the cot, the child sees two faces always. Papa and Mama were always there together. We never made it so a particular person's job that only you can do this or do that. If I did not watch the child, it is because I was not skillful at that, not because I'm a man. And after the child is washed, it is you have to carry the child. I carry. I don't say only Mama can carry the child. And there's no reason why Mama should be cooking in the kitchen with the child crying on and another child crying by her corner. No. So child upbringing was a joint task for the two of us, and we took it together. And that brought us closer together. Then we shared our life. We discussed our life together. We dialogue together always. So at the end of the day, we know how each other is feeling, what you have felt like throughout the day, and how you are getting on. So that our feelings crisscrossed.
and it is not that we had no differences. We had.
There were differences.
In our room, we could have our fights with words, but with our room closed.
Never physical.
No, not that. That word V is a taboo, violence. No, but we could fight with words. No child ever saw us exchanging words. So when they exchanged words, we looked at them and they ran to different directions because they had never seen us quarreling. Yes. And in a place like Mancon where I stayed, there were several people who used to run to my house when they have a fight. I had my small gate. So when somebody is fighting, you see somebody carrying a radio, I open the gate. The person enters with the radio. Then after a few minutes, somebody's coming. I said, no, I cannot open the gate for two people. Because I know that when you come inside my house, will be chaotic. So now I opened it. I said, no. If I have to open the door, then I have to open another one for the other person to go out before you come in. Yes, because we never wanted any loud voices. And the children learned that they were not supposed to shout on any neighbor, quarrel, disrespect any neighbor. No. We wanted only small peace.
So I think that's a great lesson. And again, we are going to get into some other things here with respect because those things seem to work well in Cameroon, isn't it? We'll think about it in terms of a change of environment. But I think for me, just listening to you, Pa says something about dialogue every day. There are some people who go for days, weeks, months without talking to their spouses. They're living in the same house. That's a recipe for disaster. We just heard here that just that daily dialogue, it's very important. And Mami just complimented that by saying they never quarreled in front of the kids. They had their moments, of course, but it was always in their bedroom. And I'm glad to hear that again. You see, two of you together. Pa says the children had to see the Pa and the Mami together, growing up seeing together, and that's important. We live in a different world, different reality. And yesterday when I was talking to Pa, I mentioned the fact that both of you used to do at least help with the family life ministry in the Archdiocese of Bamenda. And I'm sure you have experiences or things that you have watched over the years, counseling couples, helping couples. What are some of the things you have seen with this generation that are causing problems to marriages? Because most of them are not working, like I said at the beginning. What are some of the things that you have seen that are pointers that you want to warn people about that people should take care of?
What is the problem?
Yes, what are some of the problems that you see nowadays?
Well, life is very demanding these days, and you will get dragged in different directions. So it's not easy for the couples to stay together and stay close together. One goes this way, one goes the other way. If you're not careful, you will soon find yourself as two grown-up strangers under the same roof. If you do not develop a means of dialogue together, that's at the end of the day, you have time to sit down and talk, or even during the day, throughout, you have time to talk together, discuss your life together. If you don't do that, you may get dialogue with other people outside more than with yourselves inside. And that's where trouble starts. And you get to know less and less about each other until you finally know nothing about each other. So dialogue first. Be open to each other and discuss your life together. Discuss your problems together. There will be problems always. Even far back at that time, we were already adults, young adults, before we married. We live back from different backgrounds. We have to work on that.
As we were saying, that we came together when we were still very young and we were naive. Nowadays, before some people get married, they have already formed their own lives. Some girls or boys may be outgoing. They would like to go out Some are not like that. That's a bit of difference when you have a man who likes going out and a woman doesn't like to be going like that. Sometimes the age difference is so much. A man, a man who is about 50, 70, or like per here, if he gets married to a girl of 30, a girl who wants to go to a nightclub, go and dance, pa will not go. That's a problem. That's a big problem. And there are some men, men or women, who don't like to help in the housekeeping. You have a working class girl who goes to work, comes back, the man is there. So the one who is not working, sitting there reading his paper. This woman comes, bathes the child, feeds the child, washes the child's napkins, and tired as she is. Then, when you go to bed, you want her to answer your question. How is that possible? Very tired. But when that's what we used to tell people in that family planning. You, the man, make the wife cheerful during the day so that everything will go on smoothly. But when you make the woman to feel that she is a slave and she's only a bedmate for you, the marriage is just going down the drain like that. Yes. When she becomes frigid, you say, oh, I have a woman who is like that. But meanwhile, the girl is doing her own. You may have a man who is very helpful to the girl, but the girl is outgoing. The man comes back, cooks food for the children, for himself, and yet the girl comes, she's not appreciative. Everything like that, it happens, man, woman, unless both of you sit down and decide to be considerate to each other. Pa is tired. Let me do what he ought to have done. Mommy is tired. Let me do what you ought. At home, when mommy goes to the farm and is coming back with a basket of food and firewood on her head, Papa just comes out with water, which he had asked children to eat. Mama goes to take a bath, comes back, her food is prepared. What answer will he give Pa? Apart from yes. There is no. But people don't understand. Please. It's not mouth.
That's some very coded language that only old people like us understand, you know.
Are you old?
But again, I think there's some very wise words there, and I love the fact that that again, the one point about dialogue. You know, this is what Pa ought to do, but let me do it because Pa is tired. This is what Mommy ought to do. Let me do it, and that kind of, you know, understanding goes on. You know, it's great, and that image you even paint there of that village life. Mommy has gone to the farm. Pa is at home. She's coming back. She has the wood on her head, and she has food on the basket in her back, and yet Pa cannot just sit down waiting for Mommy to come put that down and come and cook again for Pa. You know, Pa, there's water, everything is ready. The rest of it is history. But I think that I think that we are really living we're living a different generation. And before I go on, I really wanted to say thank you, Caroline Sanchang Phone. She has been here from the beginning. This is wonderful. What a blessing. Lawrence, damn, this is my role model speaking. Virtual Hawks. Well, of course, Jude is there. I agree. Good vibes. Caroline again says, I love this. Caroline has been on. Brunhilda says, great inspiration. Jude says, very true. We never saw that. They never saw you. So Jude is a son. They never saw you guys quarreling. And Caroline just said, I said that talks stronger. So again, thank you those who are watching, and maybe there are some other people who become and Aku, Mami, we wear G strings these days to get attention. That's a good one. But again, we must admit that the reality has changed, isn't it? We are living in an urban setting, and again, we are talking about that. Now, you guys have been here for a while. I think a couple of years in America. It's a completely different world with its own struggles. And I'm sure there are couples who call you too to say, "Hey, this is going on." What are some of the things you are hearing, or what are some of the things you are seeing that you may want people to pay attention to?
In America, let them be more tolerant. Let them be more tolerant, patient, and as I say, consider your partner. Come in when there is a gap and fill it. Nobody will ever notice. Don't allow the children to go hungry. Somebody comes to the house and say, "What is wrong?" Nobody has cooked food for the children. The children have not eaten. Why? And one of the parents is there. God is looking at you. God does not care whether you're a man or a woman. You have to take care of the children. Yes. And I see here people are very busy. I'm not blaming anybody. They are very busy, but with their good will, you always do. When there is a will, there is a way. Yes. Some people still squeeze time to prepare a small breakfast for mama who is running late for work, or for the children to go and drop the children in school instead of mama going to drop. Because for some people, it's the woman's job, which is not correct. Everybody should do everything. There's nothing that should be done only by a man or woman. Because all of you are busy. You don't have the time that we have back home. Yes. Consider your partner. Love your partner. And pray for each other. Make sure as you are going to heaven, you hold his hand or her hand. Don't leave her behind. No. Yes.
Do I have anything to add?
Sorry, honesty. You should be honest to each other. Let your word have value. Your yes should be yes, because you are what your word. Your word is your value. If your word is valueless, then you too have no value at all. So let your word have value for your partner. Respect your partner. At the beginning of the marriage, you take the vow to honor your partner. Where does that honor begin and end? You must leave it out.
So again, thank you for those words. I want to get to two things. We are 12 minutes away. There are two things I wanted to address today, and because it's a huge issue with our African marriages. Many people say that part of the problem with marriages, African marriages, is in-laws. So the in-laws are always a problem, because the in-laws, they come in, they want to take side with their kids. And I'm wondering whether in-laws have learned to be able to be impartial in, because you come as elders, you have the wisdom, even though it's your child. Both of them are your children. We say in Africa that you get married into a family, isn't it? So you get married, I too become your own child. So why is it that very often people complain about in-laws becoming a problem for them? What is the issue, and what would you advise parents, sisters, brothers who are interfering so much in marriages?
In-laws are a mixed blessing in marriage. Sometimes you cannot do without them, and sometimes they can bring down the marriage completely. They can wreck the marriage. Depends on the kind of in-laws that you have. We were fortunate that we had in-laws who were very helpful all along. We never had any major problem that we could blame on our in-laws. And some of the problems that we project on our in-laws fall back on us, the couple themselves. If early on in the marriage you do not have demarcation between your home and that of the in-laws, they can easily infiltrate, and before you know it, there's confusion. You don't know whether I married Lucy or I married her mother. And he doesn't know whether he married me or he married my brother. So we have to let the in-laws know their demarcation, where their line stops. But we owe them a duty too, to be helpful to them. Some of them will help to bring us up. And we have to reciprocate by making life pleasurable for them and tolerable for them and helping them. God demands it of us too. But let the in-laws not take the place of the couple. Don't let them replace your partner. And we never allowed it. We always had in-laws in our family, but there was never a time when they took over the command baton in our family. No, never.
And we never ran back to them.
We never carried on problems back to in-laws. No.
So I have a couple of people that were on the other side, and I had to go back to the. So Fidelis Orace watching from Paris. Father Morris has been on. Father Morris, they always look good, Lambert. These are legendary pillars from when I knew them in Boya. 14 is the age at which my father got my mother as well. He died at their 46th wedding anniversary. So, Patita, you're not alone.
We know
for Morris, it's very important growing in the marriage and learning together. Joan Ngongban, my old town parents, a good example to follow. Linson Houston, Man Mami Kijem are so full of wisdom. Richard Titang, truly amazing and inspirational role models. Again, we just talked about in-laws, and I love what you said, Pa, that lots of the problems that we face, we are the cause, isn't it? If we let them infiltrate. It's the same thing I'm sure you're going to say about friends, because a lot of this are where we started. Mami, you were able to get through to Mami because Pa and Chang served as your wingman, isn't he? Did something.
Yes.
Yes. And I'm wondering whether he became influential in the sense that you could now run to him and tell secrets about Mami, complain to him about Mami. What is the role? Let me phrase that correctly. What's the role you think of friends in marriages like this?
There are some good friends. There are some bad friends.
Yes.
A bad friend is that which will come to you. Oh, I saw Papa in Tarimkun. I saw Papa in Quen. Oh, I saw Papa in Maryland doing this. That's not a friend. Yes, that's not a friend. A friend will help you to keep your marriage, not to destroy it. If a friend comes to you bringing in a seed of discord into your family, be very careful, because you will cry afterwards and she'll be laughing at you. Yes. When we just got married and I had the first child, there was a friend of my husband who, a childhood friend, came and stayed with us. That was when right now I felt that it would have had problems, but for the fact that I was firm and nothing was going to come in between us. And I told the man, if my husband has something for me, it is not you to tell me. It is him to tell me. Yes, I fought and fought. I was not really fighting, but the thing is that I was just, should I say I was frigid? I was just strong like that. Whatever he did, I just snapped at him. And in the end, he went, and I remained in the house. This Pa Chang of blessed memory, before he died in Dallas there, we were talking morning, afternoon, evening. It was a great loss. May his soul rest in peace. That was a friend, yes, who would mend where there was a hole. and say, oh, hallelujah, when there was joy. He was a good friend. That's what we think friends should be like.
I think that's very good, and I'm sure Jane Okebugu love the advice about both a man and a woman can do anything. Thanks a million, Auntie. I'm sure this generation we have friends who would, they want to determine for us what is good for us, and most of us want to, we forget the fact that we are the ones who are leaving the marriage, not them. We are the ones living, and again, no matter how they want to laugh at us or want to do whatever, that's I think you have to check out your friends in terms of the kind of advice they give, isn't it? And how they help in the relationship. It's important. So, Mami, before we have 5 more minutes, so if we put you back 60 years, are you still going to choose Pat Kijem, and why?
Even if we go and come back, I will still choose him. I will still choose him.
In my next life, I will still be looking for her.
Why is that so? What is it that is making you so attached that, I mean?
Because after 60 years, honestly speaking, I have not really found anything near a duplicate of this. No, nothing to compare.
I can sleep with my eyes closed, my door open. No fear of any threat, but sure of security. I thank God for that.
Wow, this is this is great. So where is that? Irene, can I say thank you? Can you come on so that I say thank you before I close up this? And I just want to ask you, I mean, again, how do you feel with your parents here with you? And I want to thank you again. I saw you with the light, like you brightened up the place and all that.
Mission.
Yes, good. So thank you, Irene. Any word for us? Do you want to say anything? Thank you, your parents.
No, I think they said it all. I'm just excited that they were here and I had the honor to set this whole thing up. You know, out of the 7 kids, they choose to stay here. So I don't take that lightly. I am very, very honored, blessed, and happy to represent all my siblings.
You do a fantastic job. I told you that the journalism you studied in Boya, you're now doing it here. So
Practicing.
Yes, but again, thank you very much. And I think let's I throw this to the audience. If you have a parent who is celebrating any anniversary, I'd like to get them. Because we need this. A lot of us need these words. We need these words. We need to hear it. We need to see you to be able to, we want to learn from you, because we think that humanity has not changed. Humanity has not changed. We are the same people. Environments might have changed, but humanity has not changed. We are the same. And so, any last words before we go? But before I give you the opportunity, what is it about the Catholic faith that made you, how did that help you? The fact that you got married in church, did that help? Or if you are not gotten married, do you think you, in church, I mean, I'm looking at the sacrament.
Marriage faith, first there's the practical teaching on how to live as husband and wife. Then there is the teaching that forms your conscience and makes you grow towards God, to live in fear of God. And we were told that the ultimate aim of marriage is to bring each other back to God. Any marriage that does not take that route, I think is missed the way. If I'm not leading her back to God and she's not leading me back to God, then we have missed our way. There is no other route in marriage that one can work for. And so if we live that life, then our Christian life has a focus that we live together and we focus our minds on our Creator and we find our way back to Him. We're finding our way back to Him. When they say love one another, love each other, and so on, that love is to imitate God. We imitate God's love. I'll find myself back to God. So if I've succeeded in any way to bring her nearer God, then I think my marriage is successful. That is the Catholic view of it.
And the church encourages you.
Yeah, the church encourages you.
That does not mean you not have a last word, Mami. Just before you come in, Irene, that's for you. Irene and our signature smile. Great job, sis. That's Linda, you saying that. I saw Vera. Vera is her in-law. I think that's Jude's wife. Dr. Eunice Ngwamisia, great conversation. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for your words of wisdom. Wow, Pa, don't talk words of wisdom. Let those who have ears, let them hear. Miss Pa, that's... Okay, somebody's moderator, kindly get them into a program where people can tell their experience and get candid advice. Okay, and I'll do that. Okay, Fiane is a powerhouse. I think that's you, Irene. I didn't know that that's your middle name.
That's my name, Fiane.
Now I know. Okay, see Mami smile, acknowledging power. Okay, so Mami, any last words?
We are just praying for all the couples, these young couples these days. There are too many problems. Please pray. Lean on God, and God is going to give you all the love, the strength, the patience to keep your marriages together. Amen.
Pa, you're looking as if you want to say anything, Pa. You want to add to that?
Let me add something, Lambert.
Yes, please.
On behalf of all my siblings, Sister Mati, Joe, Emma, Jude, Evelyn, Doris, Afu, Sister Anna, all of you all that I haven't even mentioned. Papa has too many kids around the world, and most of them are watching now. We just want to say thank you, Lambert, for this gift, because this is something we're going to cherish. We will have it there forever. We can watch it, right? It's on YouTube.
Yes, yes.
This is a gift that we're going to cherish forever. So on behalf of my whole family, thank you. God bless you for this, okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Irene. Thank you, Pa. And I wanted to say something about something that Jude is a man that I only met. I didn't know Jude in Cameroon, but Jude has a foundation. And I've been promising him that I'm going to donate to that foundation. But my own donation is going to be always making sure that I refer to them. So again, if you have loved all that you have heard today, you like Pa Kijem, you like Mami Kijem, one thing that you want to do for them is support their son's foundation. It's called Mend Them Foundation. It's a wonderful foundation that is helping kids in Cameroon. There are lots of wonderful programs. There's one day about providing pads for young girls in Cameroon. When I heard that it breaks my heart to hear those kind of things. But please, just check it out. I don't have the website hanging now, but just Google Mend Them Foundation. In honor of their 60th wedding anniversary, donate something to that foundation. I'm sure Pa will be very happy to hear that you all who watched here, I know that you all who have been on this program have already given something in the past. For this program today, just go to Mend Them Foundation, drop something in their honor. And thank you, Jude, for all the work you do. Thank you, Irene. Thank you, Emma. Thank you, Joe, and the rest of the family. You all are great people. We'll continue to learn from you people. And thank you, Pa. You are examples for the Catholic Church and for all of us who are Catholics to continue to follow. The sacrament of matrimony works, and you are a living example of that. Those who are afraid to get married in church, you have heard today, they went back to the village, got married, they walked down, no limousine and all that. Well planned. We may not have to go back that road, but you see they have been here. And I love the one thing I took away today is the fact that Pa says in the next world, he is going to look for Mami. And nobody has come even to a copy, okay? Even an imitation, nobody has come. And Mami said the same thing. Those are very great words, sharing that in front of each other. And one thing again, let's dialogue. My friends, the one reason for this program is that we may become better people in our relationships. If anything, if listening, watching to this program is able to help, please call your wife, call your husband, have a dialogue, and let's make our marriages, our relationships work. I thank you all. Those of you who have not signed up on my YouTube, please go to my YouTube page I'm on Mondays, Wednesdays, and some Saturdays. This Wednesday, I'm going to be talking to Kizito Fonjini about raising autistic kids. And I'm hoping to get a medical doctor from Dr. Bernadette Kilo. I've not yet talked to her, but Wednesday, same time, 6 p.m. But thank you very much. You and I will talk again. I'm sure I'll come to Atlanta with my own anniversary mimbo.
Very good.
Yes, thank you.
May God bless you, Lambert.
God bless your work.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
A great job.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
Yes. God bless.
Bye.